Ladies and gentlemen, great to see my premium streaming girls and guys and gals and dudes and whatever you identify as. Hey, by the way, right now, you see the t-shirt that I'm wearing? A Jimmy Dore t-shirt? The first 10 people to email contact at jimmydorecomedy.com. Subject line, I want a t-shirt. And we will send you the t-shirt in your email. The first 10, email contact at jimmydorecomedy.com. Subject line, I want a t-shirt. Tell us your size and your address, and we will respond to you. And within the next 2 weeks, we'll send you your t-shirt. You lucky winner, you. All right. Now let's get to our show today. We're doing something special. We selected one of our fans of the show, friend of the show for a while, to interview Jimmy. And this is Jeremiah Hosea, is the founder of the musical project Earth Driver and a touring musician who has collaborated with artists like James Blood Ulmer and Vernon Reid. He is also an independent journalist who writes extensively on Substack and contributes to Propaganda in Focus, discussing topics ranging from medical freedom and vaccine injury to government overreach, globalism, and censorship. He also hosts The Bassline, a weekly show focused on culture and politics with a penchant for the medical freedom conversation. Welcome to our show, Jeremiah.
Thank you so much, Steph. It is such an honor to be here. I can hardly put it into words.
I'm so glad you're here today. All right, now I'm going to throw you over to Jimmy Dore, and you get to have your interview.
Fantastic.
How
How's
are
it going?
you, Jimmy?
Good to see you.
Oh, it's so good. I have to tell you, Jimmy, I'm a huge fan of yours, man.
Oh.
I don't want to spend all the time I have to talk with you just swooning and sweating you and saying what a great comedian and pundit you are, but we are like political twins, man. I mean, if you know what I've been through politically, we've gone through a very similar experience.
Well, tell me about your experience.
Well, I'm a Chomskyite. I mean, I've read maybe a dozen Noam Chomsky books. My band opened for him at Riverside Church.
No kidding.
I've seen him speak in person 3 times, and I've had to take him off the mantle of heroes, sadly, because of what's happened to him. Same thing with Cornel West. I read Race Matters when I was a teenager. I shook his hand at Hunter College, and I'm disappointed in Cornel West as well. I used to watch Democracy Now! Every day. I can't watch it anymore. So we've gone through a similar experience with all of that.
So I've been through that exact experience. You know, Noam Chomsky, when he, I was always suspect when he said, yeah, 9/11 happened exactly as they said it did. He had no questions about it, just like the people have no questions about the Charlie Kirk assassination. They have no questions about any of the shady stuff that's happened around it.
But you know what? You know what, Jimmy? That actually made sense. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that actually made sense because when Chomsky said, I don't believe in that conspiracy stuff, it sort of added credibility to his canon of work. He's not a conspiracy theorist, quote unquote, as they had accused him of. But when he eviscerated himself was when he called for the so-called unvaccinated to be removed from society.
Well, it was even before that when he called healthcare advocates that were advocating for Medicare for all, he called them children who wanted candy. So that happened during Forced to Vote. He said that. So he sounded exactly like Hillary Clinton. They were indecipherable from each other. He sounded like a health insurance representative. When he said that, I was like, oh, what's wrong with him? And then he went on to say what you just brought up, that the unvaccinated were trying to kill people and that they should take themselves out of society. And when asked how they should get food, he said that's their problem.
Right.
So
exactly.
those 3 things for me. And then now it comes out that he was buddy with Jeffrey Epstein. He wrote him letters of recommendation after he was convicted for being a child sex trafficker. After that, Chomsky was all palsy with him. You know about that. You see Glenn Greenwald's Glenn Greenwald used to be palsy with him. Same thing. He did a video about it. Everybody should check that out. I'm sorry to interrupt you. You have some questions, but
I mean, how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, it's painful. It's painful.
Oh, it's very painful for me. And
by the way, Cornel West, by the way, you talk about Cornel West. Everybody knows my history of Cornel West. I was a big fan of Cornel West. And then he started his independent run for president, and he sounded like a Democrat. And I told him that, I'm like, there's already a Democrat. Why are you running if your whole point is the Democrats are better than the Republicans, which is what he was saying. And I said he was going to go on to endorse Kamala Harris, and guess what he did? Right before the election, he said you should vote in swing states. You should vote for Kamala Harris. So he did. He did the exact thing that everybody was afraid he was going to do. He did. So yeah, it's hard. Anyway, I could talk about it forever, but that was really painful. Still is.
Me
It's
too.
still painful.
I saw Cornel West speak blocks from here at Revolution Books here in Harlem, and this was the day after thousands and thousands of healthcare workers had lost their jobs for not complying with the dehumanizing medical mandates, and he had nay word to say about
Didn't
it.
care
So
about
this
it.
is a great, yeah.
Yeah, so same thing with Cornel West. When some
Well, that was Cornel West that I'm talking
Oh,
about.
okay, that's who you're talking about. Yeah, so when you hear somebody say that they're on the side of workers and regular people, and they didn't say anything about the people being fired for not taking an experimental medical treatment, which is Nazi stuff, and so that's when it counts. So if you don't, that's when it counts. That's when you really need somebody who claims to stand up for workers to stand up for workers. And of course, it was too hard for Cornel West to stand up for workers, and so he didn't. And you know who did? Professor Richard Wolff. He stood up. He said, you're never supposed to, no matter what this is about, you don't give more power to the employer. You don't give more power to the oligarch over your private life, including what kind of stuff you have to inject into your body. You never give that kind of power to your employer. And there was Cornel West with his thumb up his ass, not saying a goddamn thing about it. And so that was, So the moment came for all those people who claimed to stand up for workers. And by the way, he's still not saying anything. For those people who Mondami said that he's not going to reinstate those workers and that he would do it again. He'd do it again when the next pandemic comes. And where's Noam Chomsky speaking up for those people? Where's Cornel West speaking up for them? Nowhere. Silent. So, F all those people who claim to be on the side of working man. Well, the time came. The time came for you to stand up and say fascism came to America and you went along with it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm really getting carried away.
No, hey, go for it, Jimmy. You're preaching my language. This is what I talk about every day since these atrocities happened. And I have many former friends. I don't know where I stand with a lot of people who we used to protest. If something happened in a Polish village, we would be outside of the UN the following day. We protested any form of injustice, and all of a sudden I saw all these people I thought were radicals, revolutionaries, whatever, they just took the thinking caps right off of their head and they went right along as though they were being hypnotized. I still wonder, was there some kind of technology involved? And actually, that's the first question that I have for you, Jimmy, because I wrote an article that sort of offends both sides of the political aisle. It's called, If You Took the Trump Vaccine, You're a Trump Supporter. I hate to be the one to break it to you. And I want to ask you, Jimmy, what happened where people thought they were opposing Trump by taking his experimental vaccines, right? Because if you hate Trump so much, wouldn't you say, I'm not taking a Trump vaccine, and let Trump fall on his face, flat on his face in his historical moment, which was Operation Warp Speed. But it was this strange thing that it was assumed you were a Trump supporter. I got accused of that for saying, and I was like, I don't want the Trump vaccine. What do you mean? I'm a Trump supporter.
Yeah, well, and to the point where before the election of Joe Biden, people like Kamala Harris were saying, I'm not going to take that vaccine if Trump says to. Remember that? They were all the Democrats.
I have a video from your show that I recorded from on my cell phone. I hit record and I'm recording the television of your show with Biden and Harris saying all that stuff. And what's so amazing to me about that, Jimmy, is then to turn around and implement mandates that prevent people from working is not just punishing people for opposing them. It's punishing people for not flip-flopping with them.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. Completely flip-flopping. And you know what? This is all memory hold, and you can't get a rational conversation about COVID with people, even people. People I like, people I know, people who are smart. You can't. I had on I forget his name. Great guy. John Fugelsang was on the show, Can't have a rational conversation about COVID with him. He just repeats the 2021 talking points that they were having a 9/11 every day and they had to do something. What? How come then if you really think there was a 9/11 every day happening, why aren't you calling for Dr. Fauci to be in prison because he invented that virus,
Right.
and everybody now knows that he did. And you're not no one's upset at Doc. So none of their thinking makes any sense. It's not logical. It's incongruent. It's it's filled with cognitive dissonance. That's what's cognitive. Yeah. That's what that is. And and again, people I like John Fugelsang. I love him. He's very funny. I like hanging out with him. He's smart. He's probably way smarter than me. He wrote a great book. That just goes to show you there's no when a guy like that, I can't have an honest conversation with a guy like that. I feel like there's no hope, and there isn't. I couldn't have a honest conversation with Cornel West on my show about it. He wouldn't even acknowledge that 41% of black-owned businesses closed permanently because of the lockdowns and COVID, and there was no science behind the COVID lockdowns. None of that. And where was he to speak up for those businesses and those workers? Small. They didn't give a shit. He said nothing. Nothing.
Yeah. You know what the word is that I use, Jimmy? It's unfazed. Any piece of factual information that you present, any horrific thing that you could point to them that's absolutely factual, they remain unfazed no matter what they are presented with.
100%. It's a mind bog. It's still I keep looking forward to the day when I get over it, but I don't think I ever will.
No, we can't. Unfortunately we can't. This is history. I mean, it's like saying get over World War III.
Yeah, it's like, or like it's like saying get over that you were lied into the Iraq War twice, get over Vietnam, get over Afghanistan for 20 years, get over Libya, get over Syria, get over the lies about you. I can't get over it. I can't. I'm not going to get over the lies about COVID. I don't think ever.
Yeah, nor should we. And, and that's what I ask my friends is, do you think that the government that was pushing these vaccines on us was different than the government that started the Iraq War? Is that a different U.S. government?
Right. It's a great way to put it. These are the nice guys.
So they're really, really bad people about all this stuff, but they need you to have this wonderful vaccine. So I want to ask you, Jimmy, speaking of that, I mean, I guess you're kind of leading to the next thing I wanted to ask you about, which is, has there been any change in terms of some of those old friends? Have some people kind of like sent you a message secretly saying you were right, or has anybody apologized to you? I mean, because I've gotten a little bit of that. I've had like there's different categories of people. There are not one.
No, I did have my my buddy Chris Titus, who I'll always have affection for. Chris Titus, he used to have me open for him when his TV show was hot on the air. And those were some fun times to show. So he's always been a great and very generous to me. And he came back when I was at Flappers in Burbank last Friday. He came back to the green room after the show to said, hey, I'm pro-vax, but I really liked your jokes about it. It was really good. So that's his
pro-vax. What does that even mean?
I don't know. I don't know what that means, but I guess that means he doesn't have any skepticism about.
So that means he's taken 14 COVID injections and he wears a mask in the shower.
I don't know about that, but yeah, I always want. I don't want to. When a guy's being generous to me, I'm not gonna try to come back at
chastise him.
Yeah, but my question is, when did you stop taking your boosters? So the point is, when did it become okay for you to stop listening to the FDA, the CDC, and Fauci? When did you start thinking for yourself? When did it become okay for you to do that? So, because unless you have 13 boosters, at some point you stop believing them because they tell you should get them. Everybody should get them. Pregnant women should get them. They're telling everybody to get the COVID boosters, and at some point you stop believing them. And so why is most people don't get the flu vaccine? Why? So when did it become okay again to be skeptical of the corporate captured regulatory agencies that tell us to get these shots? When did that start? Because it wasn't okay when I did it, which to them that was bad. But at some point it became okay. They don't publicize when they stop listening to the CDC and the FDA. Isn't that weird? Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, one thing that I really want to bring to your attention, I'm not sure if it's on your radar, but it's really important that you do coverage of this, which is the reactivation of Brooke Jackson's legal action. I'm not sure. Are you familiar with the Brooke Jackson versus Pfizer case?
I think we had Brooke Jackson. Did we have Brooke Jackson on the show? Go ahead with it. Tell me what it is.
Okay, so this is absolutely insane for everybody who doesn't know. And first of all, just to get everybody up to date, first of all, is that Brooke Jackson has now launched her new legal case. Apparently, things went well on opening day 2 days ago. Brooke Jackson versus the United States. But the first case was Brooke Jackson versus Pfizer. I had the honor of interviewing Brooke Jackson a while ago, and what happened in this case is so astonishing. And another astonishing thing is how few people know about it. I mean, you even have medical freedom people who aren't really clear about, oh, yeah, what was Brooke Jackson versus Pfizer again? And all the Branch Covidians, they've never heard of it. You can guarantee they've never heard of it. But let me explain quickly because it's so phenomenal. Brooke Jackson was an auditor. She was an experienced auditor who went to clinical trials. She'd done this for 20 years, just making sure that everything was copacetic in these clinical trials. They have to be supervised. We need confirmation that everything is going correctly. She gets there. They have people who have no training as nurses who are actually recruited from retail and the restaurant industry to just function as nurses at a Pfizer clinical trial. Another problem is the top medical supervisor who was supposed to be on the premises at all times was never there. Not once. He was in a private practice business on the other side of town. So then she goes and reports this, and I pointed out in our interview, she's actually not a whistleblower. She was just doing her job. It's like calling a police officer who makes an arrest a whistleblower.
Right.
She was reporting that this was not going up to code. She immediately gets fired, showing agency capture right on the spot. The people are supposed to be monitoring this. They go and warn the people on the ground up, fire this, this dangerous person who's saying what's going on. And then where it gets really crazy is she takes them to trial. The famous case, not famous enough at all, Brooke Jackson versus Pfizer. She testifies to all of this, and Pfizer doesn't deny a single word that she says. Their legal defense was, well, okay, we were committing fraud, but we were doing exactly as we were instructed to do by the Department of Defense. This was stated in an American court of law.
Department of Defense.
Yes.
So now you know that the vaccine was created by the Department of Defense, right? And just
100%.
just like the virus.
100%. And the legal outcome wasn't in her favor because the judge basically said, well, all this stuff might have happened, but you weren't privy to the contract between Pfizer and the DOD. So it wasn't breach of that contract.
Wow. What corrupt judge said that?
I don't know his name offhand, but Brooke Jackson versus the USA is underway right now. So you got to get on top of that, Jimmy, because it's huge.
Well, I follow her on Twitter, so I must have been hip to this at some point. But yeah, thanks for the heads up.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing I want to ask you, Jimmy, is, and I'll just say quickly, my own background in regard to this is when I started my Medical Freedom Radio show, I made it clear I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I then interviewed several people, especially several doctors, and I said, you know what? I'm an anti-vaxxer actually at this point. And then after that, you know what? I'm past anti-vax. I'm a vaccine abolitionist at this point. And I'm wondering, to what extent have you, if at all, how much have you questioned vaccines writ large after the COVID event?
Well, there's been plenty of great turtles all the way down. The Midwestern doctor, his Substack or her Substack, detailed the lies we've been told about vaccines going back to the smallpox vaccine. The smallpox, none of them work the way we were told they work. In fact, they cause great injuries. In fact, they stopped doing the smallpox vaccine because communities and cities and towns stopped them. They protested, stood up because they saw what was happening to their children. So yeah, the vaccines, it seems like it's been a scam since day one. And the fact that they have to put aluminum in there, which it's toxic to your body, and they call it an adjuvant, and they give that to babies. They'll give them 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shots at once with all that aluminum. There's no medical justification for doing that, and there's no medical research that said that amount of aluminum is safe for children. There's no medical research that said giving them all those vaccines are safe, because there's been no placebo random controlled trials, and then there never will be.
And you know what they say? Well, we can't have a placebo group because
Yeah.
it's unethical to not give
Yeah.
people
Yeah,
vaccines.
I know. Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what? You could actually. Well, they did a thing. There's a movie out by Del Bigtree now. It's called An Inconvenient Study.
Yeah.
So a big vaccine guy at the Henry Ford Medical Clinic, which is very respected, one of the top guys in the field. He did a comprehensive study of unvaccinated people and vaccinated people. And he concluded in the study that, vaccinated people have way more chronic illness, like 50% more than people who are not vaccinated. And they buried that study. And on an undercover camera, he admitted the study was done. It was great. The reason why he doesn't want to release it is because it'll hurt his career. So that's what we're
Wow.
left with. So I don't know if you saw that movie, but it's available.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm aware of it. I need to take the time and watch it.
It's
And
available
I'm glad
for
that
free.
you were a part of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And you know, one realization that I've had through all of this, my big realization, I guess, if I were to summarize it, is I was protesting the military-industrial complex for my entire adult life and probably before that. And I was raised by, anti-war parents. And through COVID, I realized, the military industrial complex is the military medical industrial
Yes.
complex, and it has been for the whole time.
Yes. Yeah, Eisenhower wasn't lying when he said, beware the undue influence of the military industrial complex. And here we are. We're living in it. It's brought us COVID. Thank you very much.
Hey, Jeremiah, you've got, let's wrap with one more question for Jimmy.
Yeah, well, I'm going to ask you finally, Jimmy, because I'm going to write an article about this, so maybe you could give me a little fodder for my article. It's called the 1-2 punch. And it's about how the Democrats and the Republicans just sort of seamlessly, they're supposedly rivals,
Yeah.
but they just keep helping each other out. Like George W. Bush introduces the Patriot Act and Obama extends it, or Trump does Operation Warp Speed vaccines and Biden mandates them. And I just want to hear your thoughts about how far along do you think we are? Do you think we're making progress finally in terms of more people understanding that the two-party illusion is just that, the two-party illusion? I call it one party pretending to be two, is what I call it.
I thought that's what Bernie Sanders was waking people up to. And then it turns out he went right back into sheep herding people back into that thinking that there are two separate parties and they're a big difference. And, just like he doesn't, he's on his anti-oligarch tour with AOC and anti-billionaire. And, when someone points out, more billionaires donated to Kamala Harris and Joe Biden than Donald Trump, he's got nothing to say. Yeah. And so, the problem is we have people like AOC and we have people like Bernie Sanders, and their job is to make people think there's a big difference between the two parties when there isn't. And there are more people waking up to that. It would be more people on the right waking up to that, from what I've seen, than people people who vote Democrat. I don't think are ever going to wake up to that shit because they watch their Democrat news and it's all the same. The Democratic Party is just the corporate party. They're the neoliberal corporate party, and they're really they all agree. They all agree on the worst things. They agree on keeping you from Medicare for all. They agree on funding wars nonstop while draining the Treasury to do it. They agree on more prisons. They agree on all the work
genocide in Gaza.
Genocide in Gaza. There's very. They haven't raised the minimum wage since 2007. So all the important things they agree on. They disagree on bathrooms, and they're always inventing something to try to make it look like they're different. But everybody supports gay marriage now. Nobody's for discriminating against gay people, so they have to take it to the next level. Well, what about men with penises going in women's bathrooms? Oh, okay. So they just have to keep getting more outrageous to create a difference between the two parties.
Yeah, well, great answer. I'm going to definitely incorporate that list you outlined there in my article.
Yeah. Okay.
It's been a pleasure talking with you, Jimmy. I have to say, I'm just such a huge fan of yours, and this is one of the great honors of a lifetime to talk to you. Honestly, it's really tremendous what you're doing, and I'm so proud of just how strong you've been and clear you've been in a sea of chaos. You are a beacon of light, my friend.
Well, it's always great to speak with like-minded people who see through the two-party duopoly and have paid a price for it. So just like I have, I'm sure you have, and
Sure.
we've lost a lot of friends, and now I have to hang on to my Zionist friends. That's how bad it's gotten. I have to make that work.
Yes.
But anyway, all right, it was a real pleasure, man. I hope you got something out of it, and I'm sure our audience enjoyed it, and we'll talk again soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, I hope so. And let me know. I can't wait till you get back to New York City. I had the pleasure of seeing you live at the Gramercy Theater. You killed it.
Oh, okay, yeah, we had a blast. We were at the what was it, the Village Underground last time. Wow,
Yeah,
that
I was out of town. I think I was in France when you guys were in New
I
York.
Oh,
think
So
you
okay.
that's the only
were.
reason why I
That's
missed that.
such a great venue. It's so tight, low ceiling. So it's an old jazz place. It only seats 200 people. Everybody's like 5 feet away from me. It was great. I loved it. I hope that I can go back there. That was fantastic.
Yeah, well,
Anyway,
keep up the great work, Jimmy. And I want to mention one last thing, which is we have the Stop the Shots community on X, trying to get the lethal COVID shots off the market. We have spaces nightly. So
I'll look it
one of
up.
these days, stop in. I don't know if you ever do Twitter Spaces, but that they would love to hear from you.
I'm looking it up right now. Stop the shots.
Yeah, the Stop the Shots community. It might even be hidden. If you can't find it, it's pinned to my profile on X.
Okay.
Well, thank you
But
so
yeah,
much, Jeremiah. It was a pleasure
thank you
having you
guys.
on. I'm glad it worked out. Much
Y-
appreciated. And
Yeah,
happy
thank you guys.
holidays.
You too. Talk to you guys soon. Take
Thank
care.
you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was our premium streaming. But if you just tuned in at the beginning of premium streaming, I said we're giving away merch today. And if you like this t-shirt, go ahead and in the subject line, you're going to send it to contact@jimmydorecomedy.com. Contact@jimmydorecomedy.com. In the subject line, say, I want a t-shirt, and provide your name, address, and size. That makes it really easy. All right. And we're going to add another 10 people to this giveaway today because we already have 10. Ladies and gentlemen, send it to contact@jimmydorecomedy.com. Say, I want a t-shirt. Give me your size and your address. Add something. What do you want to add?
If you're one of the people who already sent an email and you didn't send your address, maybe you can just reply again to the one you sent and add your address.
Yes, we were reviewing them during the exchange and we're like, oh, no address. What's up? We can't send it to you without an address. All right, resist much, obey a little. Now go do something nice for somebody. Adios.